You've done everything for her. You've been there for her when she needed you the most. You provided for most of her needs, and now it feels like you're invisible. Like all the effort you put into this relationship doesn't matter anymore. If this sounds like you, don't go anywhere, because today I'm breaking down exactly why she's acting this way, what you may be doing wrong, and how you can flip that script to get the respect and appreciation you deserve. Jessica OS here, welcome to the channel. The silent killer of relationships. Let's talk about something that's hard to admit, but impossible to ignore. The silent killer of relationships, being taken for granted. Now, this doesn't mean she's a bad person or that she doesn't care about you. It does mean, however, that somewhere along the line, the balance in your relationship tipped. And the real question is, why? Why does someone stop appreciating the person who's done so much for them? Here's the answer. Appreciation isn't automatic. It's earned, not through effort, but through dynamics. If you're constantly bending over backwards to make her happy without ever expecting anything in return, you're teaching her to expect your effort as normal. And what's normal? It's easy to overlook. Think about it. If every morning you bring her coffee in bed, at first, she may be thrilled and excited, might smile, say thank you, even post about it on Instagram. But after the 10th or 20th time, what happens? The thrill fades. It's not because she's ungrateful, it's human nature. We all start to take consistent effort for granted when there's no scarcity or challenge. And here's the thing, if you're giving without limits, without boundaries, what you're really doing is telling her, I don't need you to value me because I'll always be here. Look, I get it. You're doing these things because you love her. You want to show her how much you care. But let me ask you this. Are you giving because it feels good to you? Or are you giving because you're hoping that it will make her love you more? Be honest with yourself. Overgiving isn't just exhausting, it's counterproductive. It lowers your value in her eyes because it makes your efforts feel cheap, even if they're priceless to you. I know what you're thinking, but Jess, isn't being generous a good thing? And indeed it is. But generosity without boundaries is self-sabotage. It teaches her that she can keep taking from you without ever needing to give back. And when that happens, resentment will creep in on both sides. If you've ever felt unappreciated, I want you to ask yourself this. Have I created an environment where she has to appreciate me? Or am I constantly giving to a point where she no longer sees my value? Relationships thrive on respect and effort, not on one person trying to constantly prove their worth. The truth is, women don't take men for granted because they're unkind or ungrateful. They do it because they've stopped seeing the challenge, the mystery, the X factor that made them appreciate you in the first place. Here's the good news. This isn't the end of the story. Recognizing the pattern is the first step to fixing it. So stay with me, because in the next part, I'm going to show you why this is happening and, more importantly, how to stop it before it ruins your relationship. So stick around. Why she doesn't appreciate you anymore. So now that we've set the stage, let's address the million-dollar question. Why doesn't she appreciate you anymore? I know this is hard to hear, but the truth is appreciation often fades when effort becomes predictable. And let me tell you, this isn't just about her. It is about the dynamics that you build together. And yes, some of it comes down to your own behavior as well. Here's the first thing you need to understand. People, men, women alike, value what they have to work for. It's not about playing games or withholding affection. It's about balance. If you've been giving endlessly your time, your energy, your love without expecting anything in return, you're unintentionally creating a lopsided relationship. And in that imbalance, appreciation will start to fade. Think about it this way. When you first started dating, everything felt exciting, right? She admired your confidence, your independence, the fact that you had your own life and your own priorities. You know, you were the man of mystery. But over time, you stopped prioritizing yourself and started giving everything to her. You inadvertently, unintentionally shifted the dynamic. You went from being the man she admired to the man who's always available, always saying yes, and always putting her first. And the truth is, always being available doesn't make you more valuable. It makes you predictable. Predictability kills attraction. And I say this on my show all the time. When attraction fades, so will appreciation. So let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with being committed. But when your commitment turns into self-sacrifice, when you're giving up your own happiness, your hobbies, your friendships, all to make her happy, it will backfire. Now, you're probably thinking, Jess, I thought women wanted a man who prioritizes them. And yes, women absolutely do, but not at the expense of your own self-respect. A man who loses himself in a relationship isn't attractive. He's a cautionary tale. Let me drop this little secret here. Women value men who challenge them. When you give her something to admire, something to chase, she'll appreciate you more. But if she feels like she's already got you locked down with zero effort, trust me, her appreciation will naturally diminish. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you said no to her? Not out of spite, but because you had your own priorities or something important to do. If the answer is I can't remember, then you're part of the problem. How to recognize the patterns. Now, here are a few signs that you might be overgiving or undervaluing yourself in a relationship. 1, you're always the one initiating plans, conversations, or affection. 2, you feel anxious or upset when she doesn't respond the way you want her to. 3, you've stopped pursuing your own goals because you're too focused on making her happy. If any of these sound familiar, it's time to take a step back and reassess how you're showing up in the relationship. So now that we've uncovered why she doesn't appreciate you anymore, let's focus on what you can do to turn things around. In the next segment, I'll teach you how to shift the power dynamic and reclaim your relationship and reclaim your worth without playing games or being manipulative. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. The dangerous trap of seeking validation. First, let's talk about why you might be seeking her validation in the first place. For a lot of men, it stems from the belief that being a good partner means doing everything in your power to make your woman happy. I mean, society has drilled it into your head. Be the provider, be the protector, the man who's always there, right? And while these are actually great qualities, when they're taken to the extreme, they become destructive. You see, you start to think, if I just do more, she'll appreciate me. But the truth is, the harder you chase her approval, the more she will pull away. Let me tell you something that's going to change the way you see relationships, okay? Women don't respect men who rely on them for their sense of worth. Respect and attraction come from seeing you as a confident, grounded, and capable, not desperate for attention or approval, kind of guy. How validation seeking shows up. Now, you might not even realize that you're doing this. So let me give you a few examples of how validation seeking shows up in your relationship. 1, you're constantly asking if she's happy or satisfied. 2, you go out of your way to do things for her, but secretly expect recognition or praise in return. 3, you get upset or withdrawn if she doesn't compliment you, acknowledge your efforts, or give you the response you hoped for. Does this sound familiar? Well, don't worry, you're not alone. But here's the problem. When your actions are driven by the need for her validation, you stop being the man she fell for. Instead of being strong, independent, and self-assured, you become someone who's constantly chasing her approval. And let me be real with you. No woman wants to be in a relationship with a man she has to constantly reassure. So what happens when you fall into this trap? It creates a vicious cycle. The more you seek validation, the less she feels the need to give it to you. Because validation seeking will shift the power dynamic in her favor. So instead of being equals, right, you've placed her on a pedestal and now she has all the control. So how do you break free from this toxic cycle? It starts with one simple truth. You have to find your validation within yourself. That means recognizing your own value independent of what she thinks or feels. You are enough just as you are, but you need to believe that first. Here's a quick exercise for you. The next time you feel yourself seeking her approval, whether it's waiting for her to compliment you or hoping she'll acknowledge your efforts, stop. Stop right there. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am worthy whether she sees it or not. This isn't about arrogance, it's about self-respect. When you stop seeking her validation, you reclaim your power. You go from being the man that chases to the man that attracts. And here's the best part. When you stop relying on her validation, you create space for genuine appreciation to grow. Instead of feeling like she has to validate you, she'll start doing it naturally. How to shift the power dynamic. It's time to reclaim your boundaries. If you've been overgiving or sacrificing your own needs to keep her happy, you've got to hit the pause button in your life and reassess. Boundaries are not about being mean or distant, okay? It means setting clear expectations for what you will and won't tolerate. For example, if she dismisses your contributions or takes your efforts for granted, don't just let it slide. Say something like, I feel like my efforts aren't being valued here, and that's not okay with me. This isn't about starting a fight. You want to stand up for yourself in a calm, confident manner. Step 2, prioritize yourself. Now let me ask you this. When was the last time you did something just for you? If you can't remember, that's a problem. It's time to prioritize yourself again. And you can do it any way you wish. Hit the gym, pick up a hobby, or spend time with friends you've been neglecting. Not only will this make you feel better, but it also will remind her why she was drawn to you in the first place, your independence, your ambition, your sense of purpose. When you're busy building your career, chasing your goals, or just living your best life, she'll take notice. And guess what? She'll start to appreciate the time and effort that you do give her because she knows that it's not coming at the expense of your own happiness. Step 3, speak her language. Now, one of the reasons women stop appreciating their partners is because they feel disconnected. So if you want to shift the dynamic, you need to understand what makes her tick. What does she value most? Is it words of affirmation? Is it quality time? Is it acts of service? When you can pinpoint what makes her feel loved and appreciated, you can meet her where she is without overextending yourself. For instance, if she values quality time instead of showering her with gifts or doing things for her, focus on creating meaningful moments together. A simple, hey, let's grab coffee and talk about your week can go a lot further than extravagant gestures because it shows that you're paying attention to what she really needs. Step 4, reward the behavior you want to see. So here's a tip. People repeat behaviors that get rewarded. If she shows appreciation, whether it's a compliment, a thank you note, or even a small gesture, acknowledge it. Say something like, I really appreciate you noticing that. That positive reinforcement will create a cycle where she's more likely to show gratitude in the future. The catch is, don't reward bad behavior. If she dismisses your efforts or acts entitled, don't just brush it off. Address it calmly and directly. Let her know that you value mutual respect and effort in relationships. Setting the standard early on will make all the difference. The secret to earning her appreciation. You've got to be the kind of man she admires, respects, and feels lucky to have in her life, okay? First thing you do, step 1, build a life she wants to be a part of. Create a life that's so fulfilling that she feels fortunate to share it with you. It doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire of some kind, or a superhero. It does mean, however, that you need to have your own goals, passions, and priorities. When a man is fully engaged in his own life, it sends a powerful message. I don't need anyone to complete me because I'm already whole. Step 2, give her space to miss you. One of the most overlooked secrets to earning appreciation is giving her space to miss you. If you're always available, always texting, always planning, always there, you're not giving her the chance to reflect on what you bring to the table. When they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, you better believe it. But it's not just about physical space, it's about emotional space too. 3, show, don't tell. Appreciation is earned through actions and not words. Telling her you should appreciate me more is never going to work. Instead, focus on being the best version of yourself and let your actions speak for you. Be consistent, be reliable, be present, but on your terms and not hers. For example, if you've been working hard on your career or fitness goals, let her see the results. If you've taken time to plan a thoughtful date or handle a tough situation with grace, let that speak for itself. Actions like these naturally inspire respect and appreciation without you having to say a word. Step 4, master the art of saying no. One of the most powerful ways to earn her appreciation is by mastering the art of saying no. Think about it. If you're always saying yes, even to things you don't want to do, you're teaching her that your time and energy is invaluable. Saying no isn't about being difficult. You want to set boundaries and show that you respect yourself. If she asks you to cancel plans with your friends or, for instance, take on something that doesn't align with your goals, don't just cave in. Instead say, I'd love to help, but I've already committed to do something else. When you stand firm in your decisions, she'll respect you more. And that respect will turn into genuine appreciation. Here's the big takeaway, okay? Earning her appreciation will start with you appreciating yourself. When you build a life you're proud of, you set healthy boundaries and exude quiet confidence, you naturally inspire respect and admiration. And when she sees that you don't need her validation to feel whole, she'll be drawn to you in ways you never expected. Challenge your mindset. Now, here's my challenge for you. The next time you feel unappreciated, don't complain. Instead, ask yourself, am I valuing myself enough to expect appreciation? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change, and it starts right now. If this hits home for you though, do me a favor. Drop a comment below and tell me how you're going to reclaim your worth. And if you want more advice navigating relationships like a pro, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one. Jessica O is here. Cheers.